In a world full of uncertainties, there are revelations that arrive to shake our inner foundations. Some messages come as silent whispers amid daily chaos, while others appear as direct signs from something greater. The story of Padre Pio is filled with such messages. Yet among all his visions and celestial communications, one stands out for its intrigue and fascination: a code of 4 letters. A simple combination, yet spiritually potent, promising not only emotional comfort, but also tangible material transformation. This revelation gained strength as believers began reporting experiences that defied logical explanation. It was said that writing these letters on a piece of paper and placing it on the refrigerator door, a trivial act, would awaken invisible forces. Within 48 hours, surprising changes occurred. Unexpected money, resolved debts, unique opportunities. This is not a vulgar superstition, but a spiritual signal deeply rooted in Christian faith and divine intercession. The origin of this practice remains shrouded in mystery. Some claim Padre Pio mentioned these letters in one of his private prayers, passed discreetly among monks and devotees. Others say they received the instructions through dreams or moments of deep prayer. What all testimonies share is the overwhelming impact of the experience. Something so simple should not work, yet it does. And that is precisely what makes it so powerful. The secret may not lie solely in the letters, but in the gesture. Writing and placing the paper is a symbolic act of faith and openness. It becomes an intimate ritual with the divine, where one fully trusts in the unseen. The refrigerator, a common and central object in every home, transforms into a modern altar of manifestation. This connection between the sacred and the everyday is where transformation begins. There is something profoundly human in the desire to see miracles within reach. This practice offers that, a bridge between divine intention and earthly need. And in this bridge lies the chance to redefine what is possible. With just a pen, a paper, and an act of belief, a new chapter begins. The question then becomes, not whether you believe, but whether you are ready. Ready to take a step of faith that costs nothing but could change everything. Because behind those 4 letters, there's more than a message. There is a key. To understand the true significance of the 4-letter revelation, we must first understand the man behind the message. Padre Pio, born Francesco Forgione, was not merely a friar or priest, he was a spiritual phenomenon. Known for his deep devotion, extraordinary piety, and miraculous signs, Padre Pio became a beacon of hope for thousands who sought divine intervention in their lives. His life was marked by suffering, prayer, and above all, a direct connection to the supernatural. From a young age, Padre Pio experienced visions, heard angelic voices, and battled dark forces in his sleep. These were not the dreams of a mystic lost in imagination, but verified spiritual experiences that led to his eventual stigmata, the visible wounds of Christ on his body. This phenomenon alone placed him in a unique category among saints and religious figures. His hands, feet, and side bore the marks of crucifixion, a constant reminder that he lived not just for the world, but for a higher calling. It wasn't only his physical suffering that captivated believers, but the power of his words. Padre Pio spoke with a depth that transcended human wisdom. His prayers were known to bring healing, peace, and even financial breakthroughs. Many who came to him with burdens, emotional, spiritual, or material, left transformed. And that's why, even after his passing, his messages continue to resonate so deeply. Each word he uttered seemed to carry the breath of heaven. Throughout his ministry, Padre Pio often reminded his followers of the importance of simple faith. He didn't call for grand rituals or elaborate sacrifices. He taught that a sincere heart and a willing spirit could open the gates of heaven. It is in this context that the revelation of the 4 letters gains meaning. It reflects his belief in accessible miracles, acts of God that meet us in the ordinary moments of life. People who met Padre Pio spoke of an unshakable peace in his presence. He knew things he could not have known. He guided souls with precision. He predicted events before they happened. In essence, he was a vessel of divine insight, chosen to deliver instructions that could ignite faith and transform lives. The 4-letter practice is one of those instructions, seemingly simple yet rooted in an extraordinary legacy. In today's world, where skepticism often overshadows faith, Padre Pio's life stands as a counterpoint. His miracles were documented, his teachings preserved, and his intercessions continue even now. To dismiss his revelations is to overlook a history filled with divine evidence, and to embrace them is to walk the path of possibility, where heaven and earth meet through faith. At the heart of this miraculous practice lies a profound mystery, the identity and meaning of the four sacred letters. These characters are not random, nor are they chosen for aesthetic appeal. They carry a spiritual vibration, an invisible frequency that aligns the soul with divine providence. Each letter is a symbol, and when combined, they create a key that unlocks channels of abundance. Understanding this hidden language is the first step toward unlocking its transformative power. The letters are often interpreted as an acronym, an encoded message that speaks directly to the divine. They represent more than just a wish. They are a declaration, a spiritual command, a bridge between human desire and celestial will. Believers who've used the practice affirm that the letters bring clarity, elevate intention, and invite divine participation in worldly matters. Just as ancient names of God were considered too holy to pronounce, these letters hold a quiet reverence, only revealed through faith. Each of the four letters resonates with a particular spiritual principle. One may symbolize grace, another protection, the third abundance, and the fourth guidance. This symbolic layering allows the paper to act like a spiritual seal, one that wards off lack and invites overflow. Unlike typical affirmations or motivational quotes, the power of these letters is rooted not in self-suggestion, but in spiritual alignment with forces greater than the self. They are not tools of manipulation, but keys to surrender. The mystery of the letters also mirrors the mystery of God. We are not called to understand fully, but to trust deeply. Just as the sacraments hold power through symbolic action, this practice draws its force from participation in mystery. The act of writing and placing the letters becomes a liturgy of the everyday, a small sacrament enacted in the kitchen where daily life unfolds. In that sacred, ordinary, extraordinary things begin to stir. Some who've practiced this ritual say the letters began to appear in dreams, as if heaven itself were affirming the gesture. Others report a sense of warmth or energy when writing them. These are not exaggerations, but common echoes in the testimony of believers. There is something undeniably active in the stillness of this act. A signal sent, a gate opened, a prayer embodied in paper and ink. And yet, the power of the letters is not mechanical. It is not the letters alone, but the faith behind them that invites miracles. Without belief, they are merely symbols. With faith, they become declarations. This is the paradox of spiritual power. It demands your participation. The miracle lies not only in the paper on the fridge, but in the transformation of the soul who places it there. So, the next time you see those four letters, do not ask, what do they mean? But rather, what am I ready to receive? For in that openness, you might discover more than abundance. You might discover alignment with the divine. Behind every sacred action lies an invisible energy, the energy of intention. When you write something with focused belief, your hand becomes an instrument of the soul. Writing the four letters on paper is not a random gesture. It is a physical expression of an inner desire. It signals to the universe and to God that you are ready to receive. The act of writing turns a vague hope into a defined request. It is the bridge between thought and form, between faith and material reality. The power of this action intensifies when it is accompanied by stillness and reverence. Taking a moment to breathe, to align the heart with the words, to write slowly with presence, these details matter. They charge the letters with spiritual energy. It is not the beauty of the handwriting that counts, but the sincerity behind each stroke. Every line becomes a silent prayer, every letter a vessel of spiritual intention. But why place it on the refrigerator? This is more than convenience. The refrigerator represents abundance. It holds food, sustains life, and sits at the center of the home. By placing the letters there, you are symbolically inviting divine abundance into your daily life. It's not just a kitchen appliance anymore. It becomes a sacred space, a modern altar of provision. This deliberate placement transforms your environment into a container of divine energy. Repetition gives strength to a symbol. When you walk by the refrigerator and see those letters, your subconscious mind is reminded of the intention. It reactivates the prayer. It sustains the connection. You are not asking once and forgetting. You are living in the space of expectation. This continuity of awareness is part of what accelerates the manifestation. It's not magic. It's faith in motion. The refrigerator also represents preservation. Just as it preserves food from spoiling, it can symbolically preserve your intention from doubt and distraction. It keeps the spiritual energy intact, safe from the erosion of daily worries. This is why the specific location matters. It's not about hiding your prayer. It's about anchoring it where life happens, where nourishment flows, where the sacred and the mundane intersect. Some practitioners have found that adding a small candle nearby or saying a brief prayer upon placing the paper increases the impact. These are not requirements but enhancements. They bring more of your soul into the action. And when your soul is involved, results follow. The divine responds not just to action, but to wholeheartedness. So when you write the letters and place them, do it not as a superstition, but as a sacred invitation. Let it be your way of saying, I am open, I am ready. Let it be done unto me. Because in that moment, heaven might lean in closer than you ever imagined. Faith is the invisible substance that binds intention to outcome. Without faith, even the most sacred rituals lose their power. When Padre Pio emphasized trust in divine providence, he was pointing to a deeper truth. Miracles do not happen through formulas, but through belief. Faith is what activates the spiritual mechanism. It turns gestures into gateways and symbols into forces. To place the 4 letters on the refrigerator without faith is merely decoration. To do so with faith is to issue a spiritual decree. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the decision to believe despite it. Every time you walk past the written letters, you may hear whispers of skepticism. But this is where the soul is invited to speak louder. Faith declares, even if I do not see it yet, I believe it is already unfolding. It is the unwavering conviction that the universe, guided by divine hands, is working in your favor. This trust becomes the foundation upon which your intention rests. Padre Pio often spoke of trust as a spiritual weapon. In moments of darkness, he would simply repeat, pray, hope, and don't worry. This mantra reflects a key principle of manifestation, surrender. When you act in faith, you are not trying to control the outcome, but allowing divine timing and wisdom to deliver it. The letters, once placed, become a seed. Faith is the sunlight that nourishes it, even when the soil appears dry. It is important to understand that faith does not guarantee a specific outcome, but it ensures a purposeful one. The form in which the abundance arrives may surprise you. It could be money, yes, but also opportunities, clarity, solutions, or even peace of mind. Faith allows you to remain open, not fixated. It teaches you to receive with humility and gratitude, recognizing that the divine always delivers what is needed, not just what is wanted. Belief creates a magnetic field. When you truly believe that something good is coming, your actions, words, and even your energy begin to align. People notice, opportunities find you. You become a beacon, not of desperation, but of expectation. The letters on your fridge are more than ink on paper. They are a daily affirmation of your trust in the unseen, and that trust begins to shape your reality. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, especially if 48 hours pass and you see no change. But remember, faith is not tested when things go right. It is tested when you are waiting. The silence is not absence, it is gestation. Keep believing, even when the world gives you no reason to. That is when miracles are born, not from circumstances, but from conviction. So if you have written the letters and placed them in faith, leave the rest to the divine. Act with confidence. Walk with assurance. You have done your part. And now heaven is moving whether you see it yet or not. Behind every spiritual practice lies a story, sometimes dozens. In the case of Padre Pio's 4-letter revelation, the number of personal testimonies continues to grow. Across different countries, cultures, and languages, people have come forward to share how a simple act of faith brought unexpected abundance. These are not anonymous legends passed down in hushed tones. These are real voices, real lives, transformed in visible and measurable ways. One such testimony comes from a woman in Italy who had been facing eviction. With nothing left to lose, she followed the instruction, wrote the 4 letters, placed them on her refrigerator, and prayed with unwavering focus. Within 2 days, she received a call from a family member offering financial help without her asking. She called it a miracle in the middle of despair. Her story is echoed by many others who found solutions where there seemed to be none. Another man in Brazil, drowning in debt from a failed business, heard about the practice through a friend. Though skeptical, he decided to try. After 48 hours, he received an unexpected job offer, one that not only covered his immediate needs but opened doors he never thought possible. His testimony was not just about money, but about renewed purpose. The gesture brought more than provision. It brought restoration. A young couple in the Philippines had been trying for years to start a family business. With little capital and no support, they turned to prayer. When they heard about the four-letter ritual, they saw it not as superstition, but as an act of trust. They followed the instructions and prayed daily in front of their refrigerator. Within a week, a neighbor offered to invest. Their business is now thriving, and they consider the letters a daily reminder of divine alignment. There are also quieter stories, those not filled with dramatic windfalls but meaningful breakthroughs. A woman in Canada, struggling with anxiety over finances, reported a sudden inner peace after placing the letters. Though her situation didn't change immediately, her mindset did, and in the weeks that followed she noticed small blessings accumulating: discounts, refunds, unexpected checks. It was as if the universe had begun to respond gently but steadily. Even among skeptics, the results cannot be ignored. A man in Germany, who dismissed the idea as religious nonsense, placed the letters after a dare from a friend. What followed was a series of events that helped him recover lost funds and reconnect with a long-lost business contact. He later admitted that while he still didn't understand how it worked, he could no longer deny that something real had happened. These stories are not meant to glorify the letters themselves, but to point toward a deeper truth. When faith meets action, the extraordinary becomes possible. Each testimony is a witness to what happens when belief is put into motion. And though the outcomes may differ, the principle remains the same. Those who trust receive. In the ancient world, altars were sacred places, constructed with purpose, visited with reverence, and used to bridge the gap between humanity and the divine. Today, our homes rarely contain formal altars, yet certain spaces still carry symbolic weight. Among them, the refrigerator holds a curious position. It is not merely a kitchen appliance, it is a provider, a preserver, and often the most frequently visited object in a household. In the context of Padre Pio's four-letter revelation, it becomes something more, a modern altar of manifestation. The refrigerator sustains life. It stores the food that nourishes us, preserves what is valuable, and symbolizes the abundance we possess, even when we forget to see it that way. By placing the sacred letters on this object, we elevate its function from mundane to meaningful. It becomes the center of an invisible exchange, where spiritual intention meets daily routine. The act is subtle, but powerful. We are inviting divine energy into the heart of our home. There's a psychological component as well. Most people visit the refrigerator multiple times a day. With each glance at the paper containing the four letters, the message is silently reinforced. It becomes a visual anchor, keeping our mind aligned with the intention even subconsciously. This repetition deepens our commitment to the belief that abundance is coming. It sustains our faith during moments when doubt would otherwise creep in. The refrigerator also represents neutrality. It is not tied to religious symbolism, making it accessible to believers of various spiritual backgrounds. Unlike traditional altars that may feel distant or ceremonial, this everyday object becomes a space of sacred interaction without ritualistic burden. It meets the believer in their daily life, where sacred and ordinary blend seamlessly. Some have noted that the act of opening the refrigerator, reaching for nourishment, is a symbolic act of receiving. Every time you open it, you are physically participating in the motion of being provided for. The letters, sitting quietly on the door, become a seal of that provision. You do not beg for abundance. You live in the awareness that it is already there, already coming, already within reach. For those who desire a deeper spiritual connection, the refrigerator can be enhanced with symbols of gratitude: a small cross, an image of Padre Pio, or a prayer card. These additions are not necessary, but they enrich the space with reverence. The goal is not decoration but devotion. To treat the space with honor is to invite greater power into its presence. In transforming the refrigerator into a modern altar, we are making a statement that spirituality is not confined to temples or churches, but lives where we live, in our kitchens, our habits, our gestures, and through these simple acts, heaven touches earth, not with thunder but with quiet, continuous provision. While many have experienced profound results from the four-letter ritual, there are others who claim nothing happened. It is tempting to assume the method failed, but often the real cause lies within. Spiritual laws are delicate, and just like physical laws, they require proper alignment. Even a sacred act can lose its power if key principles are neglected. Understanding these common mistakes is essential for those seeking genuine transformation. The first and most critical mistake is treating the practice as a superstition or a quick fix. When a person writes the letters without faith, hoping for instant magic, the gesture becomes hollow. It is no longer an act of connection but of desperation. The divine cannot be manipulated like a vending machine. This mindset blocks the very energy that the letters are meant to release. The heart must be involved. Without true belief, the door to abundance remains shut. A second mistake is impatience. Many expect immediate results within the 48-hour window and become anxious or frustrated when they don't appear. This anxiety disrupts the frequency of trust. Manifestation, especially in the spiritual realm, often requires surrender. Impatience signals doubt, and doubt interrupts the flow. The letters are a seed. If you dig them up every few hours to check for growth, you kill the process. Another common error is cluttered intention. Some people place the letters while harboring conflicting beliefs. Fear of success, guilt around money, or unresolved resentment. These inner blockages create resistance. The external act cannot override internal contradiction. For the ritual to succeed, the soul must be clear and receptive. Forgiveness, self-worth, and gratitude must all be present to create a fertile ground for abundance. Some misuse the practice by repeating it obsessively. They write the letters again and again, move them from place to place, or add unnecessary rituals. This stems from fear, not faith. True power lies in simplicity. One act, done with intention and left in peace, is far stronger than frantic repetition. The divine responds not to volume but to clarity and conviction. Another mistake is neglecting gratitude. Gratitude is the key that unlocks continual flow. If you are only focused on what you lack, even sacred acts will feel ineffective. But when you begin to thank in advance, as if the blessing has already arrived, you change the atmosphere. Gratitude magnetizes the outcome. It draws abundance closer. The letters on the fridge are not just a request, they are a declaration of trust. Gratitude makes that declaration louder. Finally, some people block results by speaking words of lack immediately after the practice. Complaining, doubting, or sharing disbelief with others creates a spiritual contradiction. Words have power. They either water the seed or poison it. After placing the letters, your words should align with what you desire, not what you fear. Avoiding these mistakes transforms the ritual from symbolic to effective. It creates a clear channel for abundance to flow. The method is not broken. Often, it's the vessel that needs adjustment. Purify the heart, focus the intention, and trust the process. When these are in place, the results often arrive not just quickly but abundantly. While the four-letter ritual is powerful in itself, its effects can be greatly amplified by supporting actions. Think of the letters as a spiritual engine, and like any engine, it performs better with regular fuel. These fuels are small, deliberate practices that align your energy with abundance. When done consistently, they don't just prepare you to receive, they position you to attract more than you imagined. The divine often meets those who are already moving in faith. One effective action is a morning declaration. Upon waking, take a moment to say out loud, "I am open to receive divine provision today." This simple sentence aligns your mind with expectation. It shifts your perspective before the day begins. When repeated daily, it reshapes your subconscious beliefs and magnetizes opportunities toward you. Your energy changes, and so does the way others respond to you. Another powerful practice is visual gratitude. Spend 5 minutes a day looking at the letters on your refrigerator and giving thanks as if your desire has already been fulfilled. Imagine the solution, the money or the opportunity arriving right now. Feel it in your body. This activates the emotional frequency of having, which is essential to manifestation. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you believe you already possess. Tithing or giving, even in small ways, also unlocks flow. Abundance is not only about receiving, but circulating. When you give with joy, even a coin, a meal, or kind words, you tell the universe, "I trust there is more." This act dissolves fear and invites more into your life. Generosity becomes proof of your belief in infinite supply, and the divine often rewards that with multiplied return. Another way to amplify results is through sacred silence. Once a day, take a moment to sit in stillness, breathe deeply, and simply listen. Don't pray, don't ask, just be present. This creates space for spiritual insight and guidance to surface. Sometimes the answer to your financial problem won't come in cash, but in clarity. A new idea, a shift in thinking, or an unexpected solution. The words you speak daily are also crucial. Speak life, not lack. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," shift to, "I'm attracting the resources to experience this." Language creates reality. The letters on your fridge hold spiritual weight, but your tongue holds creative power. Let both speak in harmony. When your actions, thoughts, and words align with abundance, results manifest faster and stronger. Some believers enhance the energy by anointing the paper with a drop of blessed oil or water. This is not essential, but it adds reverence. The point is not ritual for the sake of ritual, but focus. Every act becomes a signal, every gesture a part of your spiritual message. The divine is not moved by theatrics, but by the sincerity behind them. In the end, the daily actions are not about earning the blessing, they are about aligning with it. Abundance is not a reward, it is a reflection. When you reflect trust, joy, and gratitude, you create the environment in which miracles are not rare. They are expected. After the paper is placed, the prayers whispered, and the 48 hours pass, the most important moment arrives, the aftermath. This is where many either cement their breakthrough or sabotage it. What you do next determines whether the energy continues to flow or fades into silence. The 4-letter ritual is not a deadline, it's a doorway. And when the 48 hours end, your posture of faith must continue with even greater intentionality. The first step is not to check your bank account, but to check your heart. Ask yourself, am I still open? Am I still trusting? If nothing visible has happened, resist the urge to declare failure. Remember, some seeds sprout overnight, others take root underground before emerging. The work is still unfolding. Many breakthroughs come disguised, as a conversation, a new idea, a delayed answer that opens greater doors. Stay alert, not anxious. Express gratitude, regardless of what you see. Give thanks for what is coming, not just for what has arrived. This act of continued faith keeps the energy alive. Gratitude is not just polite, it's magnetic. It keeps your spirit tuned to divine provision. By saying thank you even when the outcome is unclear, you affirm your alignment with the blessing. This simple choice transforms your posture from waiting to welcoming. Take inspired action. This doesn't mean forcing results, but responding to nudges. Perhaps a name comes to mind. Perhaps you feel prompted to check a forgotten account, revisit a job application, call someone you haven't spoken to. These are not random thoughts. They may be the answers in motion. The divine often works through our willingness to move, even in small steps. The blessing may be on the other side of one brave decision. Resist the temptation to repeat the ritual out of fear. The power is not in repetition, but in rest. Rest in the knowledge that your message has been received. You don't resend a letter if you trust it was delivered. If the 48 hours pass and the answer hasn't shown up, say this aloud: I trust in perfect timing. What is mine cannot be lost. These words shift your energy from worry to wisdom. Share your testimony when the blessing arrives. This is more than storytelling. It is spiritual multiplication. When others hear what faith has done in your life, their belief is activated. Your miracle becomes a mirror, reflecting hope back into the world. Don't keep the light to yourself. Let it illuminate others. The divine often rewards those who give glory where it's due. Finally, let the 4-letter message become part of your rhythm. Don't treat it as a one-time experiment. Let it remind you that spiritual life is not separate from daily life. It is woven into it. Keep living with intention. Keep acting with belief. Keep inviting heaven into your routines. The refrigerator, the paper, the prayer, all of it points to one truth. Miracles happen where there is space for them. So now the choice is yours. You've received the instructions. You know the practice. You've seen the testimonies. Will you write the letters? Will you open the door? Will you believe not just for 48 hours, but for a lifetime of divine provision?